Hey guys, welcome back. Another unpopular opinions in Pokemon. Again, thank you to Sacari for creating the thread that seems to never die. Check his YouTube channel out in the description, as always. Let's get into it. I think Quachansey here to start us off. I don't know if some of these are unpopular opinions or just observations that are sort of interesting to think about, including this first one. He says, why is the term E-Series used to describe and include only Expedition, Aquapolis, Skyridge, when the first few EX era sets also used e-reader technology and had the big E logo on the booster pack? And there was a little bit of discussion that stemmed off of this. I would say it largely has to do with the fact that that's where Wizards of the Coast got cut off, where those next sets, the first EX era sets, we're under Nintendo instead, where they're also EX. There's sort of an overlap, little middle ground there. So maybe the WotC cutoff automatically makes people associate those later cards. It was also brought up that the Japanese EX / e-reader sets were not e-readers, so could be one, could be the other, could be just that's what happened, how it turned out. Some people blamed Pokelector for categorizing them differently, but I don't know. I think it's universally agreed upon at this point in time. Anything after those three sets is EX era rather than E-reader. Maybe we'll call them EX reader sets to get that happy medium. Sleepy Wills says, my opinion, Charizard is frankly the most overhyped Pokemon ever. I think everyone, even Charizard collectors, will admit that. So maybe not an unpopular opinion. I'm sure some Charizard collectors in denial or really big Charizard fans would want to disagree with you, saying that Charizard deserves every bit of hype that he gets. But I don't know. I'm not really the biggest Charizard fan. But I do realize that there's certain value and chase that goes with those being as popular as they are. When more people want the Pokemon, the value and perceived value of it definitely goes up. Delightful Tyranitar says, flippers are cutting the legs off the next generation who will keep this hobby alive. If a kid can't go into a store and randomly buy a pack off the shelf, they may never have that one experience that solidifies them into the hobby. As I've said like a million times on the channel, I don't think the current climate and extra demand for Pokemon that is exceeding the supply, we've already seen it sort of go away a little bit. I'm sure with this 25th anniversary stuff coming up, we're going to see a little bit more demand. But shelves are looking fine. It's a little bit difficult to get products as they're released, but that's just going to be a patience game. Nothing beyond that. Probably nothing to worry about in terms of the long term. If you're in it for the long term, at this point, you can find packs. It might not be the pack that you want on release day, but be patient. There will be multiple waves. If there's demand, Pokemon is just going to keep printing it. It's money for them. And the amount of hype in the hobby right now, I don't think can sustain itself. Once the money aspect is gone too, you'll see a lot of people that were more interested in that aspect leaving. So patience. In terms of collecting in general, I think the greatest thing you can have is patience. Take your time, learn, and don't overextend or overexert yourself on trying to complete everything. Don't get that FOMO. Just take your time, and you can do some incredible things versus trying to do it all at once and burning out and then leaving the hobby. All right. Lisa Nagi says, unsleeved cards stored in a 3-ring binder are fine. This is really a stretch. The 3-ring binder is fine. You just have to be very careful that the pages aren't in behind the rings, so that when you close it, it's pushing on the inner 3 cards. Other than that, the 3-ring binders are fine. Unsleeved is maybe a different story. There is a little bit of dirt, depending on how you're storing them, where you're storing them, that can get in the top of the those pages, the 3-ring binder pages. So preferably sleeved and then put in there if you're going to put them in there. But store them carefully. Don't pinch the pages in the cards. See a lot of binder dents for that reason. Unsleeved, definitely want, if they were brand new pages, yes. Don't put cards in a dirty old penny sleeve even, or a dirty top loader or anything like that, because you're probably going to do more damage than prevention at that point, because all the dirt that's in there is going to rub against the card as it's sliding in. So yeah, these are the old binder pages. Just replace them, or get some new sleeves. Certainly new sleeves. Always use new sleeves. Penny sleeves are fine in terms of if you're just temporarily storing things and not playing with them in a deck or something like that, or even if you want to put them in a no ring binder, ringless binder. Penny sleeves are fine. At that point, all angles are covered. So, all right. Wolver says, Shining Legends, Hidden Legends, Legends Awaken, Call of Legends. Then we had Shining Fates, Hidden Fates, Fates Collide, Call of Fates. So it seems like they're in fours. I don't know if they're going to come out with any more Legends or Fates sets. Although it looks like we're going to have another Shining set coming up. So I don't know how they're going to do that. Maybe, I guess there's already the 2 Shining Legends and Shining Fates. So maybe we'll see Shining something else. It'll be interesting to see how they play around with the names. Sooner or later they'll run out. It'll be like the Xbox Live gamer tags that are suggested, and then all of a sudden you're like Blue Fox 69 instead of Blue Fox, just because they ran out of combinations. All right, Fuden065 has 5 of them here for us. Neo Series and E Series is far superior to base set when it comes to artwork and aesthetic appeal. Even within Gen 1, Team Rocket and Gym Heroes Challenge blow base set out of the water. So I think this is just, I don't know, in my opinion, general consensus that as the sets went on, there was more effort put in terms of artwork and backgrounds especially. Starting out, it was, I don't know if they knew how far along the card game would get, so they just kind of took the stock artwork, started with that, and built from there. Nothing to say bad about the artists at the time, because it probably wasn't required of them. Not that their skill level wasn't there to create something better than what was there, but those are iconic artworks. Those are what we kind of started out with. So to expand on everything from there and get different artist perspectives and style on these same Pokemon later on is super cool in my opinion. Alright, number 2. Reverse Hollows are a better card variant than first edition stamp. They actually add personality to a card and look great when assembled into a master set. Well, first edition cards are exactly identical to unlimited cards except for a bit of ink on one corner. The exception here would be first edition base, which is actually substantially different from unlimited base. I wouldn't even say substantially, but they are different. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super crazy about recent reverses. I kind of like the EX era reverses where the cards were hollow and they had the set symbol on them. I think those are cool. I think even better than that would be like an alternate art version. Even if it was just like a non-hollow. If it had a different artwork that you'd only pull 1 per pack and it was that alternate version, I think I would love that even more. But I don't think it makes sense financially for them to do that. So maybe they can't, or it wouldn't be viable. But I think that would be a cool way to have larger sets or like chasier versions of your non-hollows and hollows. In that aspect, would be really cool. Obviously, it would take a ton more investment in terms of the artwork end, but that's personally what I would like to see. I agree that like first edition stamp at the set size that there are now just doesn't make sense, and then you'd have everyone hoarding first edition product, and how big do you make that print run versus later print runs? I think it's just a mess, and I kind of like the reverse aspect to it. Adds a little bit more chase, so at least when you're opening product beyond the first box, like booster box, you're at least getting cards that you don't have for your set. All right, number 3. It is good that WotC lost rights to Pokemon because otherwise WotC would have eventually ruined the Pokemon TCG just like they ruined Magic, Duel Masters, Neopets, and every other TCG they worked on. So Magic is still alive, and I think Magic has they'll come up with something that's popular and they'll kind of ruin it, and then they'll move on to the next thing. So they're good at that. But in terms of like ruining Magic, I don't know. I think Magic is ridiculous at this point in time with the amount of variety in the same card. Just like borderless, alternate, or crazy extended things that they're doing. I think it's too much. I think they have too many products coming out, but I don't know. It's selling, so they're doing something right. Probably not selling as well as Pokemon, at least not on the retail end, because you'll see tons of Magic product on the shelf when there's very little Pokemon this day and age. So it's hard to say. Fates Collide is a good set. It has a total of 5 different Alakazam cards to collect, including a beautiful secret rare, which features 2 other great Pokemon, Lugia and Umbreon. I would agree. I like Fates Collide. I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say anything bad about Fates Collide, but certainly it doesn't get very much praise, at least at this point in time. Many Gen 1 Pokemon are beloved simply because they are Gen 1 Pokemon, not because they have good designs. If Ditto, Grimer, and Lickitung were Gen 5 Pokemon instead of Gen 1 Pokemon, they would probably be hated. Maybe. I don't know about that. Grimer, maybe, because people would be like, oh, what, it's just Grime is the Pokemon? I think Lickitung would be fine. Ditto is one of my favorite Pokemon, so maybe I'm biased on that, but I think the idea of being able to transform into other Pokemon is a pretty cool one, pretty cool gimmick, especially for that far back in time, in the initial 151. Jisco says, Japanese versus, versus series, is a trainer-based set, by far superior to both Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge. I would agree. I was just saying this yesterday, I think, but I would love to see a Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge type set come out with the character rares that we're once again going to see, similar to the ones that were in Cosmic Eclipse. I think that would be absolutely insane to have a set filled with those, based on the gym leaders and or characters from the anime and games. SM Pratt says 100%. I have a part 2 unpopular opinion. If Versus was old back design, it would be more popular. Probably, just because if Japanese collectors prefer the old back, I suppose. I personally, if I was going to collect anything Japanese, the first place I would go is probably the Versus set, and then maybe the web stuff. I think they're awesome. It's a shame that we didn't get them in English, but. And Dragon Warrior says, I'll add part 3. If it was officially had an English release, it would be more popular than E-Series. I don't know if it would be more popular than E-Series. It was released in a weird way where you had like part decks. But I think it would be right up there as popular. Keep in mind, the E-Series stuff wasn't very popular, or Pokemon in general wasn't very popular at the time. So that's why those sets are a little bit harder to find. So I don't know if it would have. I don't think it would have saved the Pokemon card game at that point in time and made it way more popular than what it was. But I would have loved to see those cards in English. Even if it was something like the 25th anniversary, if they came out with those in English, I think I'd be way more excited than the reprints that they're going to put out. Don't get me wrong, people love to see the old stuff, and it's cool that they at least didn't just reprint base set. That they went into some of the other obscure stuff from over the years that was really playable. I think that's probably the coolest part. 4-star TCG says, there has never been a more exciting and fun time to collect in Pokemon cards. I think so. It's a little bit tiring to, especially when the prices kept going up, to try and keep up with everything. The inability to get new product or the difficulty level at this point in time is still a little bit too much. I think it'd be nice to not have to worry about that stuff and just enjoy the sets for what they are. Would be more fun. And more in-person stuff would be cool as well, but we're gonna have to wait on that. Collector says Deoxys over Mewtwo. I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I'm not really a big Mewtwo fan, but I'm not really a Deoxys fan either. So I'm sure that is definitely an unpopular opinion. People like their Mewtwo and their Mew. Sort of Shiny Obsessed says artwork on most Charizard cards isn't as good as other Pokemon. I mean, to cherry pick, if you're going to take any Charizard from any set and say that it's the best artwork in that set, I would say that would be a very hard task, and that there's definitely, I would say almost certainly a better artwork other Pokemon if you can pick and choose any Pokemon in the same set as the Charizard is from. That's not really fair. McMimi says binder collections are better than graded collections. I would agree with that. And I don't know. I think I don't think this is as unpopular as you might think. Even though people do love graded cards, they're not for me. And I know a lot of people that do have graded cards, but they're more attached to their binder collections. So, all right, Joe saying the majority of EX era hollows are boring and have unoriginal artwork. I don't think so. I'm not sure why they think this, but I would disagree for sure. Professor Steven says we need more fan favorite legendary Pokemon in the new sets. I've had enough of Sword and Shield Pokemon to last me a decade. So I think this is just the thing that happens when you have a new generation that comes out. They want to feature the new Pokemon as much as possible, get them some exposure. They didn't have cards before, so you're going to see a lot more of them, and then you're going to see a lot of the the favorites, and then hopefully we'll get some other stuff leaked in. They don't want to get into like your all your old favorite legendary Pokemon right away. They still need to work those in gradually. So the Dog Trio, and this is from February, so we did get a Suicune. We did get the Bird Trio, although it's the new version of the Bird Trio. It'd be cool to see the old birds and the new birds together, Galarian and non-Galarian. Lugia, Darkrai. We did get a Rayquaza, and no Mewtwo yet, other than the V-Union Mewtwo. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with these guys. I'm sure they're going to make an appearance. They're fan favorites, but they're probably trying to spread that out a little bit. You don't want to just come out the bat with everyone's favorite Pokemon and then later on have not a whole lot to go on. Got to spread that out, put some interesting stuff in each set. We got a Mew coming up, a Mew V and VMAX. Box cover legendaries. K-Pod says Japanese crystal cards look a million times better than their English European language counterparts, almost like this should be a Japan exclusive. I don't know. I disagree. Rip Guy Fox, I'll take a look. I'll take a lot of flack for this, but the $30,000 base Bulbasaur meme doesn't seem as ridiculous as it seemed 3 months ago. We're not there yet, but I have no doubt that we will be, and sooner rather than later. I don't think so. I think stuff is going to retrace quite a bit before. Not that it will never get to $30,000. I mean, there's at some point in time when they're digging up a fossil of of a certain guru holding a base set Bulbasaur, and it has to go into a museum. That maybe at that point it's $30,000. Effectspore says people that only collect WotC are collecting with horse blinders on. Most of WotC cards are stock images, some of the most boring art in the hobby. So it's kind of like on a repeat. You have a lot of people that are really into the WotC stuff. If they grew up with that, then sometimes they only want to look at that. I would agree that you are missing out on a lot if you only collect WotC. There's no problem with starting with WotC and then moving on to other things. Or if that's all you want to collect, then by all means, go to town. But yeah, it's compared to other stuff, other later artwork, even by the same artist, doesn't compete. For nostalgia's sake, sure, they are the originals. Those are the cards that started it all. So hard to hate them, but also at the same time, you have to sort of have an appreciation for how good the artwork has become over the years. Muck says most people that categorically hate whole sets eras only focus on chase cards and completely ignore oftentimes wonderful non-hollows. If you're open-minded, there is at least something beautiful in every single set. I would totally agree. No matter the set, how big, small, there's always some nice cards in there. And it's all part of the history of both the TCG and collecting. So gotta appreciate them all. Tap says, I'll always prefer trading over selling, regardless of price. I would agree. Trading is much more fun. If you haven't tried it, give it a whirl. It's called the Pokemon trading card game for a reason. And I don't know, it's just much more rewarding if you can, even if you're trading over the internet, in terms of like you arrange a trade and you both mail each other some cards. I think that is much more fun than just going on eBay and typing in what you want and pressing buy it now. Wise Mailmer says, I've had probably above average success with trades, I guess, and maybe I just lucked out finding people near me, although the Northeast is pretty densely populated, so it's not so hard. So trading in person might be a little bit more difficult. But if you're at your LGS and there's Pokemon stuff going on, there's probably a good chance there's some modern stuff that you can trade with people. A little bit less chance that you're going to see some older stuff, but you never know. British Bidoof Corporation says, all of the different variations of souped up rarity in modern has destroyed a lot of the excitement in the collecting game. I agree. It's a little much. I think they should have scrapped the hyper rares, as I always say, and just replace those with alternate arts that they're pumping now. A single secret rare or a tiny subset of shining, gold stars, etc. is fine, great even, but when you're pulling hollows and ultra rares and tossing them aside as dead packs because you get to hunt all of the VMAX, Mega, EX, textured gold, foil, rainbow, hyper rares in every set, it makes the whole thing tedious to take part in, watch, or hear about. Yeah, so, man, there's some people that want more chase, and at this point, there's so much chase in these sets that there is, I don't think there's any single human being that is trying to open an entire set, short of like a store or something maybe opens enough product to sell singles. But even the people that are collecting the newest sets are not opening the entire set. It's not even close to feasible. I can only imagine how many boxes you would need and how many duplicates you would end up and how much time you would spend sorting and selling off all those duplicates. All right, what did they say here? Remember those days of being jazzed because you managed to pull a holo? It was exciting because it was something shiny and cool, and now it's just bulk. That makes me sad. So that's the sort of the thing with shiny creep, is you end up getting into this ridiculous spot where the holo rares are not necessarily what you're trying to pull. All right, Quachancy is back and says, in my opinion, modern holos suffer more from the awful oil spill holo pattern than an abundance of ultra rares. They barely look holographic / sparkly, especially just suppose with the incredible textured rainbow and gold cards. So yeah, I agree. I'm not really a big fan of the that like oily holo either. I mean, not everything has to be the swirl cosmos holographic, but at the same time, there isn't a whole lot of shine that comes through, especially when you get a little bit of extra ink on your holo, or if the artwork covers up most of the holo area. So I don't know. I think by design they're not supposed to be as exciting as the V's, VMAXs, and alternate versions, secret versions of stuff, but DKD04 says Wobbuffet is underrated. There, said it. Yeah, I would say most people don't say Wobbuffet is underrated. He did have a pretty big spotlight in the anime, so there's that. Crispy says, unpopular opinion, I don't care if 6-year-olds can't get a Pokemon card with their Happy Meal. P.S. I don't own a single McDonald's card. I just get tired of hearing gatekeepers cry about 30-year-olds buying out fast food supplies, first come, first served. I agree. I don't think McDonald's should have sold like them by the case. And if somebody wants to buy Happy Meals like I did and try to open the whole set and then just like sell off the extras or trade off the extras, I think that's fine. Is it a little shady? Is it a little over the line when you're going and you're buying multiple cases? of the cards themselves, just without the meals, and you're just selling the whole case on eBay. Yeah, kind of. At that point, I'm surprised that McDonald's hasn't just restocked on the Pokemon cards or done like a second run. They might still, but it kind of surprised me that they haven't at this point in time. Maybe they can't get access to it, but you would think that the amount of business that it brought in, that they would want to do that more often. Also important to note that people didn't care about the McDonald's Pokemon cards until 2021 when they were coming out. So take those. They are not necessary. They will probably be very inexpensive in after the hype dies down. Josh's Pokemon collection says Oddish is the best Pokemon. I think that may be a little bit biased with your avatar there. Although I would say that that is certainly an unpopular opinion. Maybe not that it's a good Pokemon, but that it's the best Pokemon. Don't hear that every day. RGW151 says, I don't know if this has been previously said in this thread, but Japanese cards are better than their English equivalents. I don't think this is an unpopular opinion, at least on efour. There are a lot of Japanese collectors and people that prefer the Japanese cards over the English cards. I'm not one of those, and I think overall this is probably an unpopular opinion, at least in the West. So, good work on that. Quachancy says, Steam Siege memes grew old and stale fast and haven't been funny since 2019. I would agree. We've seen a lot of those in this thread, even. Explorer says, the reported poor print quality of Shining Fates is a great thing. I don't think poor print quality is a great thing ever. It sucks when you open a bunch of product and it's all beat up. At the same time, I'm not somebody that's like excited to try and get some cards that are really hard to grade. So damaged cards out of the pack suck. I hate it. And especially now, it's extremely hard to send them to Pokemon to get replacements with all the backup and the cove going on. Mr. Parker says, people who have never shopped on Yahoo Japan have never lived. I agree. Shopping on the Japanese sites is pretty fun. I'll probably have some videos of that coming up. Maybe some buy purchases. Maybe get some Zillions of Enemy X singles. That would be pretty awesome. Haven't done that in a while. So looking forward to that. A little in-between Pokemon break is always good too for the mindset. Thanks guys for tuning in. See you in the next one.